It pleases the court, my name is Owen Robinson and I represent Kiara. It is the view of the defense that Kiara should be sentenced to a 2-year community corrections order. There are several important factors, principles, purposes, and current judiciary sentencing practices to be considered that support such a sanction being imposed. There are several important mitigating factors that are essential to be considered in the pursuit of a just outcome in sentencing, most important of which is Kiara's youth at just 20 years old. Further to this point, Kiara has a robust support network in her family and long-time association with the NDIS who can help her navigate the complex process of rehabilitation, making her an excellent candidate for rehabilitation. Secondly, Kiara has submitted an early guilty plea, saving the court precious time and resources. As per the 1991 Sentencing Act, courts will typically provide a more lenient sentence in exchange for an early guilty plea, and there is strong precedent to support this. Moreover, Kiara has already spent time in a rehabilitation center, demonstrating her strong commitment to seek help for her condition. She is also being diagnosed with a psychosocial disorder, which has been medically linked to her drug usage. A harsher sentence than that proposed by the defense would only worsen Kiara's ability to continue her admirable efforts to confront these personal perils. It should be noted that Kiara's case does possess some aggravating factors. Kiara does have a criminal record, and she did use a weapon during her offending. Furthermore, Susie has outlined the effects that this confrontation continues to have on her in a victim impact statement. However, past offences do not preclude a person from rehabilitation, and whilst the effects of an offence on a victim can be confronting, it does not necessitate or justify sentencing an offender to an excessively punitive sanction. As per the Victorian Sentencing Advisory Council, between July 2014 and June 2019, a CCO was the second most commonly imposed sanction for this offence at 30.1%. For offenders aged 20 to 24, this percentage was even higher at 47.4%. Additionally, 14.8% of female offenders received a fine or some form of adjournment over a more serious sanction such as a CCO or imprisonment. Of these CCOs, 72.6% were imposed for a period between 1 and 3 years. For female offenders, this figure was an immense 90.6%. Thus, the defense submits that a 2-year CCO without recording a conviction be imposed. In addition to the typical mandatory conditions of a CCO set out in the 1991 Sentencing Act, the defense proposes the imposition of other conditions to ensure that the principles of justice are met. The first condition being compulsory drug addiction and mental health treatment and rehabilitation. Whilst Kiara has already spent time in a rehabilitation facility of her own free will, this will ensure completion. The second requires that Kiara complete 80 hours of unpaid community work. Lastly, a condition of non-association with Susie should be imposed to prevent any further harm befalling Susie. The significant flexibility of a CCO enables for such an order to address each offender's unique needs and circumstances. Conditions should be imposed with regard to this as per the guideline judgment in Boulton v. the Queen. This enhances the ability of a CCO to meet the principles and purposes of justice. The principle of parsimony is integral in this case, as imposing an overly harsh sentence would impede the achievement of the purpose of rehabilitation. In sentencing a young offender, the court should prioritize rehabilitation over general deterrence, whilst recognizing that serving a harsher sentence, such as a term of imprisonment, will often lead to significant recidivism, as per the decision in R.V. Mills from 1998. The community work condition of the CCO will allow Kiara to work towards repaying her debt to society and also in her long-term rehabilitation through slowly reintroducing her to a working environment. Whilst the CCO is a non-custodial sentence, the Victorian Court of Appeal confirmed the inherently punitive nature of CCOs in their guideline judgment in Boulton v. the Queen, meaning that the purpose of just punishment can be achieved whilst also enabling the pursuit of rehabilitation concurrently. A CCO further enables the purpose of protection to be fulfilled, as the conditions of non-association and addiction treatment should prevent further harm, as Kiara's crimes were not committed at random. The principle of parity is also achievable through a CCO, as current sentencing practices clearly trend towards a non-custodial sentences where the factors of the case permit it, such as those in this case. And where such an action is taken, CCOs tend to be of a short length for offenders convicted of a similar offence to Kiara. Thank you.